Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back. It's Travis here with JT Wealth. In today's video, I came across an article talking about the happiest retirees having over $500,000 invested. And that article seemed to create a lot of controversy between younger viewers or readers or people watching it on a podcast. And they wrote back to the author saying, hey, these are very unrealistic numbers. And what I want to take into today's video is how realistic that number really is, and then showcase the numbers, the math behind it, the average retirement amounts, where you might fit in that category by age, and just showcase that $500,000 for retirement is both extremely reasonable, feasible, and something you should easily shoot for. So let's get into it. Alright guys, thanks so much for checking out today's video. I know it's not your average stock video. We're not talking about specific stocks at all. It is much more broad-based financial information to help you guys along the path of planning for your retirement, no matter where you might be in the journey. Whether you're 18 years old and just got out of high school working your first job, or if you're 45 and planning to retire as soon as possible, this video and the information presented in it is going to be extremely helpful in you planning for that retirement. So before we jump into the article and all of the information I have compiled to support its main thesis, I want you to take 2 seconds out of your day, smash the like button for me, and consider subscribing to the channel. Now, let's get into the main article of today's video. And I saw this one on Market Watch, and it says the happiest retirees have at least $500,000, according to this financial advisor. And the readers had this to say about it, and this was written by a guy named Wes Moss. Alright, so here is the website where the original article came from, and it's off of Next Avenue, and it's titled What the Happiest Retirees Know. And now Wes Moss is a certified financial planner. And in the article, he says this $500,000 inflection point is an amalgamation of my extensive surveys of retirees and near retirees. It also relates to my $1,000 a month rule, which stipulates that for every $1,000 in monthly income you want in your retirement, you need to have saved about $240,000. So the math behind that formula is $240,000 times 5%, or your annual withdrawal rate from a retirement savings, equals $12,000. Then divide that by 12 months to reach the $1,000 figure per month. Doubling that for breathing room and giving folks $2,000 a month brought that total to roughly $500,000. And now you might be thinking $2,000 a month isn't enough for me to retire on, but what you're really saying is I can't afford my life right now with $2,000. Later in the video, I'll show you the other 2 points he made in this article that people didn't seem to take issue with, but one of which was like paying off your mortgage, which would significantly lower your monthly costs, right? So there's so many other things that he takes into account in determining how much money you need monthly. That $2,000 that you're pulling just from your IRA or your individual retirement account doesn't deal with Social Security or possible retirement monies that you're receiving or government subsidies, anything like that. It is just $2,000 per month based on the $500,000 total you have accrued. All right, now this is where it gets good. Let's read some of the actual comments to this article. And he wrote, judging by some of the Facebook comments, quite a few people felt $500,000 was too lofty a goal. Juliet posted, I presume sarcastically, terrific advice. Just get hold of $500,000 if you want to be happy. Yeah, no big deal. Mary wasn't having it either. Well, duh, who wouldn't be happy with $500,000? Dolores was defiantly confident, saying, I surely intend to find happiness in retired life without having $500,000 at my fingertips. Jeez. So rather than disagree, he wanted to use an opportunity to tell these people that he hears what they're saying. He knows it's not easy to save $500,000. And as a matter of fact, roughly half of all U.S. workers and 36% of retirees have less than $10,000 in household savings and investments. But he still believes, as do I, that $500,000 is more attainable than some would think. Now, before I show you guys exactly the math behind saving for a $500,000 investment account and how long that will take, let's look at the actual 3 pieces of advice he had given in totality for this specific article. The first item was having at least $500,000 in liquid assets. Of course, money and things you can sell quickly or easily, like bank accounts, stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. And that ended up being the one everybody took issue with. But look at number 2, having your mortgage either paid off or an expectation that it will be paid off in sight when you are going to stop working. I don't know about you guys, but the average mortgage payment out there, or mortgage, is over $250,000. So if you don't take issue with that, I'm not sure how you directly take issue with a $500,000 savings account or investment account. The third of which, having multiple streams of income, one of those being a part-time job. And that, of course, is while you are retired. So if you do retire from your full-time job, there's still some kind of income coming in, whether it's from passive income, multiple streams of income, or a part-time job. All right, so all that being said, how long do you think it would take you to save in an investment account $500,000? If you're a younger person and you're taking issue with the $500,000 plan, how long do you think it would take? And be honest with yourself, because I'm going to show you guys exactly how long it would take based on only $10,000 a year saved. And here's a chart I have used before. I absolutely love this chart. It's the number of years to save each additional $100,000, assuming a 7% annual interest rate. Now, if you only saved $10,000 a year, to get to $500,000, you would take 22.23 years at 7%, and again, only $10,000 a year. So the average person simply will work much longer than how long it takes them to reach that $500,000 mark. And Wes wasn't the only person writing about the $500,000 retirement goal. There's so many other articles on the exact same thing, one of which came off of Investopedia. Check this one out. And Investopedia had retire at 45 with $500,000 and the 4% rule. Now, this article went into all sorts of different issues, but it basically said, hey, the key takeaways are it may be possible to retire at the age of 45, but that depends on a variety of things. If you had $500,000 in savings, according to the 4% rule, you will have access to about $20,000 for 30 straight years. Now, you could use that to retire abroad. You could go to South America. You could go to Europe. Hell, you could go to Bali. I know I like the idea of going to Bali. But it does admit that retiring that early does prevent you from your prime earning years, and that could potentially increase your Social Security or decrease it as it were, because you're not working during those years. All right, but we talked about how long it would take to save $500,000, assuming you invest $10,000 a month at 7%. But is that realistic? Can you get 7% returns every year? Well, again, referring to Investopedia, looking at the average annual return for the S&P 500, if you go from its inception in 1926 all the way through 2018, the average is between 10 and 11%. Now, if you want to shorten it and only use the adoption date for when they started doing 500 stocks specifically, that occurred in 1957. Now, if you went from that date through 2018, you're still seeing an 8% return on average. So yes, it is very possible to see 7% annually. It seems that it's, for whatever reason, unsuitable, faux pas, if you will, to invest in yourself, to plan, to save, to retire, because everybody wants to just live their best life now, and the problem with that is you're literally stealing from your future. To showcase exactly what I mean, let's look at how much the average person has saved for retirement by decade. By that I mean from your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, and your 70s. So looking at this, where do you stand so far? Only 26% of people in their 60s have over $500,000 set aside for retirement. Now, if you start with 40 to 49-year-olds, the average number of people with over $500,000 is only 7%. Say we increase that, people in their 50s. For some reason, it gets lower. Only 6% of people now have over $500,000 invested in a savings account, in an investment account, whatever the case may be. Now, when you get to 60 to 69, it does thankfully increase up to 14%. And again, from 70 to 79, it jumps up to 19%. But these numbers are definitely lower than they could be. Now, it's important to note here that the author of the article did not say you can retire early with $500,000. It wasn't a fire video, it wasn't a fire article, and neither is this. I'm not trying to tell you guys that you can be 45, 40, 35 and retire with $500,000 unless you have a lifestyle that will allow for such levels of income and debt to play out perfectly in your situation. That's not most people. But say you're actually ready to retire, you're in your early 60s and you're planning for the big day when you just leave it all behind and go off to the beach somewhere or do whatever it is that makes you happy. So you've got $500,000 saved. That means you've got $20,000 a year for the next 30 years. Now, say you also have Social Security, and if you've been working up until this point, you probably have a fairly decent Social Security payout, something along the lines of $2,000 a month, which would be $24,000 a year. If you combine both of those, you have $44,000 a year to live off of now, and that's assuming you don't have a work retirement, some kind of pension, or other benefit plan stored away to provide you some other level of passive income. In the Next Avenue article, one of the editors said something that I absolutely loved, so I'm going to share that with you guys. But it was about not just checking the boxes in your financial future. Retirement isn't just a piece of paper that you can go through, check, check, yeah, I've hit all these boxes, now I'm going to be happy, right? I can just walk off into the sunset and everything is going to take care of itself. In the article, he said, it's about ensuring that retirees have not only enough money to go to sleep at night comfortably, but enough purpose to wake up every day the next morning. And I know I'm paraphrasing there, but I think that's a hugely important piece, and it fits into the way I have kind of viewed retirement as I get closer and closer to my fire goal of retiring early, because I don't want to think about leaving my job as my retirement goal. I'm not retiring from something, I want to retire to something. And I think that's exactly what they were trying to say in that, perhaps a little bit more eloquently than mine. Alright guys, so thanks for checking out today's video. The bottom line was I think Wes Moss was spot on in his article. People were upset about it, but that's because these people aren't educating themselves about their financial future. They're not planning for a $500,000 or more retirement, which means when they see such a big number, it's very scary to them. And it's scary because it's unknown and they don't know how to get there. But if they were to spend the time like you are right now watching these finance videos, setting up a budget, preparing for their future, it would create a lot less fear in their minds as they just get away and be done with all of that uncertainty. So anyway guys, thanks again for checking out today's video. Hopefully you found some value in it, whether you're 30 years from retiring or 5 years from retiring. And if you did, please smash the like button for me, consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, take it easy.